Last time on Blue Lock Season 2. After finally getting a chance to play by Nagi's side again, Ryo showed Nagi how far he's come by awakening his new play-copying ability, the Chameleon. Meanwhile, at the threat of leaving Blue Lock, Itoshi Sae sets a shocking last-minute condition, which is that he gets to pick any one player from Blue Lock. Who could this mystery player that caught Sae's eye possibly be? And how will this affect the rest at Blue Lock? We find out in Episode 5 of Blue Lock Season 2. The episode kicks off with Isagi looking at the stats from the tryouts, especially taking notice that besides Ryo, only two non-top 6, Bachira and Baru, had actually managed to score in these matches. Meanwhile, the final match of the tryouts ends with Team A's Rin and Shido scoring the final goal together, while fighting over who gets to score it like two dogs fighting over a bone, as usual. However, once the match ends, things escalate very quickly, and Rin and Shido actually engage in a physical altercation, with Shido landing a clean kick on Rin's nose. Shido then goes in for another, when Ego electrocutes him almost into a fried chicken to stop the fight. Ego then addresses all of Blue Lock, telling them that he was finally going to announce the final 11 in just 6 hours. While reviewing who to keep in the final 11 and who to not, Ego receives a phone call from the chairman of the Japanese Football Union, Buratsuta. Although we don't find out the nature of the call till a little later on. Meanwhile, Isagi and the rest of the remaining Blue Lock players wait anxiously in the hall for the timer to finish. Isagi thinks about his chances of making the final 11, as he was among the only 4 people who scored goals and weren't in the top 6. Shido, however, is suspiciously absent from the place for some reason. The timer finally comes down to 0, and the elusive Ego finally makes his second live appearance in front of the Blue Lock players. Ego announces that this selection is based on the goal average of the players in Blue Lock, as scoring is the essence of the game. Finally, the names of Blue Lock Final 11 start getting revealed, starting off with the vanguard of the team, the cornerstone around whom the whole will be centered. That honor goes to the top player of Blue Lock, the player with the highest goal average of 2.5 goals per match, the moody genius, Itoshi Rin. Next up, due to his exceptional physical abilities, Kagamaru Gin is the goalkeeper of the final 11. For left and right center-back positions, it's the tall glam man, Ryu Jubei, and the sharp-minded Nico Iki. For side-back positions, it's Chigiri Hyoma on the right and Bachira Meguru on the left. For the role of the defensive midfielder, who connects the defense to the offense, it's the one who is best at keeping the ball whilst also being good at analyzing the game. It's Karasu Tabito. Coming to the offense, the duty of being the forwards of the team falls on Otoya Eita and Yukimiya Kenyu, who will push ahead by combining Otoya's stealth and quickness and Yukimiya's one-on-one dominance. At the core of the attack, stationed right next to Rin, it's the guy with the most exceptional ball control in all of Blue Lock, Nagise Shiro. Finally, Ego announces the final player to make the final 11, the player that had the highest compatibility with Itoshi Rin, who could not only coexist alongside him as his shadow, but also subjugate him to score himself. The final piece of the puzzle. It's Isagi Yoichi. Isagi is over the moon at making it on the team, while others who couldn't do so look on in frustration and anger, especially Baru, who looks like he could erupt like a volcano any second. Yukimiya then asks the question that was poking everyone's mind. Why isn't Shido in the team? Ego answers that due to Shido's extreme ego, he would be detrimental to a team based around Rin, and so he planned to keep him in reserve as a joker card that he would only use if he had to substitute Rin. Although that has since changed as Ego discusses Buratsuta's call from earlier, finally. As Ego begins to tell them about Sae's condition, we see Shido strapped up in a confinement room somewhere like Hannibal Lecter when Sae comes in. Sae tells Shido he'll set him free, but in exchange, he had to go give him his ego and go berserk for him on his team. Shido starts laughing, eerily similar to a psychopath at this. Bro's only a football player. Back at Blue Lock, Ego finishes telling them about Sae's drafting of Shido. Hearing this ticks a serious nerve on Rin. Ego then announces a 15-day training schedule for the Blue Lock 11 to train in until their much-anticipated match against Japan's under-20. Isagi and the other players get fired up with excitement now that they are just one step away from fulfilling their ultimate goal of stepping onto the world stage. On the other hand, Sae gets introduced to Japan's under-20, with Shido seen sitting in an under-20 uniform as well in the back. Although Sae very quickly reminds us he's Rin's older brother by telling his team he had no interest whatsoever in them straight to their faces. They're all surprised at this, especially Sendo Shudo, Japan's under-20 forward, who calls Sae out for his arrogance despite only being an academy-level player overseas. Sae quickly silences him by reminding him of the difference in their goals, because while Shudo was content with his current position as a forward in Japan's team playing in its top league, Sae had his eyes set on becoming the world's best. Before Shudo has a chance to say anything back, a maniacal Shido pounces out of nowhere and slams Shido's head on the table, demanding he be put as a regular in the team if he beat everyone there in a fight. Before Shido is able to kick Shido's head off his neck like a golf ball off a golf tee, Japan Under-20s defender Oliver Aiku subdues the rabid dog that is Shido on the ground with ease, telling Sae he and the rest of the defensive line of Japan's Under-20 had his back, so he should show his capabilities on the field and not with his mouth. Meanwhile, Chigiri, Isagi, and Bachira discuss Aiku and Japan's Under-20s playstyle during their morning drill. Japan Under-20s, centered around Aiku, their tall, talented defender, was a defensive team. Isagi and Chigiri wonder about how they would fare against an elite defense like theirs, while Bachira keeps repeating, by just crushing them, like a stuck record player. On his way to the cafeteria for his break, Isagi wonders about what Bachira was saying, and about his capabilities when he notices noise coming from the gym. It's Rin, going all out even during break time. Isagi asks Rin to take a break, or else he could injure himself. Rin says if that happened, then it just meant he wasn't at the level he thought he was. He had to give it his all because he was finally getting a chance to go up against his brother, Sae. Crushing him and surpassing him were the only things he had cared about, and he wasn't going to stop till he achieved that. Isagi acknowledges the drama queen's commitment, but tells him to at least take this water bottle because he didn't want him collapsing and taking Blue Lock down with him. Rin takes the bottle, only to complain it was lukewarm seconds later. We then see Ego addressing the Blue Lock players in a special meeting. Ego tells them about the concept of flow, the heightened state of mind where one is so focused on what they're doing, they lose track of time, owing their moments where they broke out of their shells in Blue Lock to this concept. Ego goes on to tell them that the key to getting into the flow was to set optimal goals. Not too below your ability that would bore you, and not too high that would make you anxious, as a joyous state never exists alongside anxiety and boredom. Ego then defines ego as the rush or the joy you feel when you unlock a new weapon on the soccer field. Ego asks all of Blue Lock to remember their time here and how much they had evolved thus far because they were going to use this flow state on game. They were the new generation of egoists who are going to overthrow Japan's Under-20s and unlock a new age of soccer with their goals. Motivated by Ego's words, Isagi makes his mind up to find the goal that he could immerse his mind into. A goal that was only meant for him. Stay connected, like and subscribe for more fun recaps on One and Only Endless Recaps.